Does The Incredible Hulk hold up?
Now she'll see.
This movie was one of the first superhero films I saw as a kid, and I remember really liking it when I saw it originally. But I was really young, and all I really remember prior to it was the Harlem fight scene. So as I was getting ready to hit play, all I could think about was, man, I'm really going to enjoy this. It's alright. Listen, we'll get into the nitty-gritty details in a second, but to start us off, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Multiversal Knight, and let's dive back in time to July 3rd, 2008, and rewatch the second entry of the MCU. Riding off the success that was Iron Man that starred Robert Downey Jr., Marvel Studios was ready to expand their universe with their second film, introducing the Hulk. And the movie, in my opinion, was alright, mid, maybe? Is it a bad superhero movie? No, not at all. But is it a good superhero movie? Well, in my opinion, it definitely could have been better, especially amongst its peers. So, whoa, slow your roll there, big fella. Listen, I know this is a very treasured comic book movie and comic book character, and I respect your opinion if you love this portrayal of the Hulk. I just wasn't a big fan of it rewatching it. So before you go Hulk smash in my comments, I would love to hear what you think. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
I'm gonna wreck it!
Edward Norton is Bruce Banner. Feels a little weird to say, no, because for over the course of 10 plus years, Mark Ruffalo has been the Hulk.
That's my secret, Captain. I'm always angry.
But this is Edward Norton, four-time Academy nominated Edward Norton. A phenomenal actor in my opinion, one of the greats in this generation. But he feels miscasted? Does Norton look the part? Abso-freaking-lutely. I think of Bruce Banner and one quick Google search and Norton 100% looks the part. But he doesn't feel like Bruce Banner in my opinion. And I don't think it's his fault. For anyone who doesn't know, the behind the scenes of this movie was freaking messy. Let's break it down. Norton was promised by Marvel Studios to go in and fix the script to his liking. They filmed most of the scenes, but in the end, Marvel Studios cut out most of what Norton wrote except for dialogue for Bruce Banner. And I find that to be a massive problem because you have the vision of Norton, who has his idea of what the movie wants to look like and feel, and then you have the vision of Marvel and what they want the film to do, and they don't contrast well at all. At times I feel myself not cheering for Bruce just because it feels like Edward Norton is in this movie, and I know a lot of people really like him as Bruce Banner in the Hulk, and I really tried to see it, but I just can't. And my only thought to that is I think because a lot of people are not a fan of where currently the Hulk is in the MCU, which, by the way, for those that maybe don't know, these two are still the same characters. Which I think some fans need to understand that regardless who was playing the Hulk, whether it be Norton or Ruffalo or friggin' Jonah Hill, he still would have ended up in the same place currently where he's at. Gearing up for Spider-Man Brand New Day, of course. As for the side characters, most are alright. Emil Blonsky and General Thunderbolt Ross are the only two semi-interesting characters in the film apart from Bruce. The late William Hurt looks like he just jumped off the pages from a comic book, and his motive makes sense. I feel like it's partly Bruce hurt his daughter when he turned into the Hulk for the first time. It has some sort of trauma that if he gets Bruce back, all will be resolved with his daughter. Maybe, kinda. The other part to that is capturing Bruce so he can weaponize him and then figure out how to recreate the serum so he can make more soldiers like him. You know, typical government, military, evil stuff in superhero movie. Tim Roth as Blonsky is good for what he's given. He's given the super soldier serum and then he kind of wants more so he can, you know, one-on-one with the Hulk. I don't think his motives are really explored in the movie, and then this kind of adds to the problem of early Marvel movie villains where they're just one and done and don't carry any weight for the rest of their universe. But, I mean, for a Hulk movie, this is what you want. The Abomination versus the Hulk in an epic CGI fight. Like, this is probably, out of the original 4 origin stories, this is the one people really don't have a hard time with Abomination being kind of a one and done. And I know he's introduced recently back in She-Hulk, but at the time, just a one and done villain because you get the fight. and he's still alive by the end of the movie and doesn't die. Tim Blake Nelson and Samuel Stearns really didn't do anything except give Blonsky the serum to turn him into the Abomination, but his character was fun and obviously was set up for something in the future, which finally paid off nearly 20 years later in The Big 25, which that's another movie where I feel could have been a lot better. Sorry, Sam Wilson. But the character I have the most problem with is Liv Tyler's Betty Ross. Man, is she boring in this movie. I had no care for her relationship with Bruce, which just felt forced and no connection between the two at all. You can take her character out of this film and delete the love interest portion of the script and you still end up with the same movie. The only good scene between the two, in my opinion, is when Bruce says this.
You don't have to do this, please. This is insane.
Betty, I've got to try.
Apart from that, Betty Ross does absolutely nothing for me. Also, was that kiss CGI'd? Did anybody else see that? Or does it just look weird? Why would it be CGI'd? He's not hulking out here. Why? What? Oh, and Phil Dunphy is here. Listen, this is not Ty Burrell's fault at all. This movie came out a year before Modern Family was released on homes across America. But no matter what he's in, I'll always see Phil Dunphy.
That's good.
And if you ain't white, you ain't right.
Phil, have you learned nothing?
I mean, does this not sound like Phil?
It's a point of professional pride with me that I can always tell when somebody's lying. And you are. I used to wonder why she never talked about you. Now I know.
But to me, one of the most important things is that there were a portion of people who saw this movie, and instead of Phil, they saw Leonard Samson, who looks like this in the comics. Yeah, I don't know what was going on in this movie.
Well, that's just lazy writing.
As with all movies, a script is involved to help carry out the story, but as many directors who finish working a Marvel movie will tell anybody, the script isn't actually finished when they're filming, which does cause some issues amongst cast and crew behind the scenes. You know, as evident with this film and the whole Norton script problem that Marvel ran into. And I think it's the writing that honestly kills the movie for me. It just feels bland, boring, the plot doesn't really make any sense. Iron Man, it's a story about legacy, and not to spoil my covers on Thor and Captain America, but those films have a sense of a character overcoming a challenge, some better than others. But dude, Bruce overcomes accepting the Hulk at the end of the movie. But does he? And again, these two are the same character, Norton and Ruffalo, same Bruce Banner, same Hulk. Bruce in the Avengers talks about he doesn't want the other guy to come out. He put a bullet in his mouth.
You rented my room.
The cell was just
In case you needed to kill me, but you can't. I know, I tried. I got low. I didn't see an end, so I put a bullet in my mouth, and the other guy spit it out.
It doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't line up, and I think Marvel Studios and Kevin Feige realized that, and that's why for most of the Infinity Saga, the Incredible Hulk was just brushed underneath the carpet. There's been a lot of reports that in the early days of the MCU, they didn't really plan ahead on their universe building, and they just kind of got lucky, and I think this movie and the writing with it is a huge example to back up that claim.
Ai, não me deixo com fome. Quê? Não bang quando eu fome. Wait. Oh, that's not right.
I think if Marvel Studios went through with their promise to Norton, there would be a better outcome, and honestly, audiences may have looked at Edward Norton as the Hulk like people do to RDJ and Iron Man. But the script is so bonkers in my opinion, and the third act of the film where Betty and Bruce are on the run just feels so rushed to get to the end so we can see the Abomination and Hulk fight. Which I appreciate, it's probably one of the better things of this film, but damn dude, can we get some like actual plot built in please? Bruce sends the email on a public computer, and then the military's like, yep, got your ass. And then, yes, maybe the argument is by the time the military gets there, Bruce is cured and everything, but that doesn't happen. It just feels like lazy writing.
Wait a minute! Who are you?
I truly believe if the Hulk was maybe the last film that came out before the Avengers film in 2012, then we might have a Hulk series of films. This film came out 5 years after the Eric Bana Hulk movie, which performed similarly to the 2008 one, and many would consider this Norton movie to be 10 times better than the Eric Bana movie. Some, not all. But I just think audiences were like, I saw a Hulk movie 5 years ago, I don't need to see another one, and especially with the loaded summer that the Hulk came out in. In May, you had Iron Man and Indiana Jones in the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. In June, Hulk fell in between Kung Fu Panda and WALL-E, two of the best animated films at the time. And then in July, Hellboy 2, The Golden Army, The Frickin' Dark Knight, and Step Brothers. Man, makes you think movie lovers maybe took the past for granted, because that's an insane summer lineup. But my point still stands. The Hulk had to compete to get people to go into theaters and to watch it. And again, with people saying, well, I just saw a Hulk movie a couple years ago, there's plenty of other choices to go out and enjoy. They chose them over the Hulk. To me, if you put the Hulk movie after Thor and Captain America to sort of ground itself back to present time before the Avengers, one, you already have an idea of how everything's lining up before the release of the Avengers.
If I told you we were putting a team together, who's we?
Two, you have time to write a good script and also decide if Edward Norton is your guy as the Hulk.
Like, you actually see him, you see Banner fight for control.
Three, there's enough time between Eric Bana's Hulk and your new MCU Hulk to intrigue audiences to go out and watch it. And four, you have time to set up a plan with Universal Studios, and what I mean by that is Disney and Marvel Studios actually don't own the film rights to the Hulk. That's why this movie has the bum 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 bum. Maybe after Universal saw the success these movies were racking up to be, they'd be like,
hello, I like money.
Hey, we gotta hop on the train and make as many Hulk movies as you want, instead of, hey, this shit was a bad experience. Take a middle finger, Kevin Feige.
Finally!
So, does the Hulk hold up? Well, I think it's more than just a, yes, it does, or no, it doesn't. This is not a bad movie by any means. There's enough content to enjoy, and plus, for a Hulk movie, it checks all the boxes, really. I just think with how much care there was in building Iron Man, it left everyone wanting kind of more of that experience, and the Incredible Hulk behind the scenes and on screen really didn't show that. It kind of slowed the MCU down in its second movie. I can't be the judge that determines if a movie is good or not, but in my experience, does the Hulk hold up? Yes, and it's an okay to good tier. Nothing more, nothing less. It's still the best Hulk movie to date. It's still connected to the MCU. It's honestly just a shame that because Universal Studio owns the film rights, we can't really get a Hulk movie series. But to conclude, I will say that maybe this movie is just more of a guilty pleasure to most. You know, like I mentioned, most people prefer Norton's Hulk just because of the state Ruffalo's Hulk is in currently.
I see this as an absolute win.
But I will say this, when it comes to comic book movies, you kind of have to treat them like a comic book. There's going to be some runs in comic book series that you don't like. You're like, well, my character doesn't feel like my character right now. But then in the next comic series, you're like, wow, he's back. And I feel like Spider-Man Brand New Day is going to bring back the frickin' Hulk. Thank you all so much for watching the breakdown of The Incredible Hulk. Tune in next week as we take a look at the next film in the MCU that also had people wondering if it was a good film, Iron Man 2. Stay safe, and I will talk to you all next week. Bye-bye!